beach in a place called Wassenaarse for the yearly swim run. And yes, I'm still injured, so I'm only going for the swim. I'm not going to do the run. Maybe I'm going to run for 1 or 2k, but definitely not the whole distance. So I'll just give up either directly after swimming or after 5 or 10 minutes of running. I'm standing here very far from the sea because it is storming, and this is, I think, the only place where you can actually hear my voice. I'm not even sure if you can hear my voice because the wind is crazy, which also means that the sea is wild. It looks really rough. The longer distance has just started. I can see them swimming. It doesn't look very comfortable. It's also very cold and it's raining. So storming, raining, very cold. They are recommending wetsuits, but I don't have one, so I just have to swim in my regular triathlon suit. So I'm doing 500 meters of swimming and then it's followed by a 5k run, but I'm not going to do the run because I'm injured. Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it anymore. Start is in half an hour. It's gonna be brutal, so wish me luck. Those waves, they're so high. I really don't know anymore why I'm doing this. And you know, I actually brought my drone to this race because I wanted to film the start of the longer distance from the air. But of course, my drone could never take off in this kind of weather. It's even crazy that an hour ago I thought about flying my drone here. And then we were off. Not a lot of participants turned up at the starting line, and honestly, I can't blame them. The race started with a short downhill, during which I worried a little bit about misstepping and the consequences that would have for my Achilles, but we were down in an instant. Before we could head into the sea, we had to run 500 meters to a flag. In other years you would directly run into the sea, swim in one direction and then run back, but now the wind was so strong and blowing from such an unusual direction that they changed it around so you could at least swim with the tide, because swimming against the current would have been impossible today. I did not run at full speed at all. I was just jogging because of my injury, and that landed me in the back of the field. Oh, and you don't realize it, but the sand is so cold when it isn't warmed by the sun. So we reached the flag and we could get into the sea. I put my goggles on and I felt the cold water at my feet, although it wasn't as cold as I had expected. Despite the weather and the very cold summer we've had, the water was more or less okay. It was 17 degrees Celsius. Now you might be wondering why we're not running into the sea. Well, I tried that for a few steps, but the soil was so uneven that you'd almost trip and fall, so running felt very dangerous. And we were trying to reach the open water, where there were no waves, because we had to swim around the first buoy before we could officially start swimming in the right direction. But as you can see, the waves were extremely strong and high, so every wave would throw you back a few meters. We really tried to move forward to reach the buoy, but we sort of stayed at the same place. I also saw a couple of people who managed to get a bit further and started swimming, but after 3 or 4 strokes they would be back where we were, in shallow water. The waves were just too strong. And here the water knocked my goggles off. Luckily I didn't lose them, but I had to put them back on. And it was at this point that people realized we were never gonna reach the buoy. So everybody stopped trying altogether, and we just sort of waddled through the water. It was also at this point that we all understood we were doing something ridiculous, and we collectively gave up on it. People were just yelling, "This is madness," to one another. And so actually we all should have been disqualified because we didn't swim the right route. But in our defense, even apart from the waves, we couldn't even see the boy. And even though we were in shallow water, I suddenly very clearly understood how people drown in the sea, especially a sea as wild as our North Sea. Sometimes a wave would push you down and another big wave would follow really quickly, so you'd hardly have any time to get up and breathe in between. And if you're in deeper water and your feet can't reach the ground, and the waves are a bit stronger, you could be in real trouble. Anyway, at this point, without having actually swum for 1 second, the tide had just brought us at the level of the second buoy. And of course nobody bothered to reach the buoy, we already knew that was almost impossible, so we just stumbled towards the beach. I tripped twice and almost fell, but I just got myself. So now we just had to run to the transition zone where I would quit, since I'm still not able to run because of that super annoying Achilles tendon injury that just doesn't seem to be healing. So I told them my start number because the sea had washed it away from my arm and handed in my swimming cap. I searched for my bag and started packing.
Het is voor de veiligheid is het dat er steeds geteld wordt en gekeken wordt. Nou ja, die het zat zijn, die richten een heel leven aan en hopelijk volgend jaar weer hier.
Ik hoop het.
Kan je het allemaal aan het water?
Ja. So I just finished, or actually I just quit because I quit in the transition zone like I thought I would. After the swim, well, let's not call it a swim because I don't think I swam for a second. We couldn't get into the sea. The waves were too high. We just couldn't get through them. I tried for minutes. People around me as well, but we just didn't manage to reach the open sea. So we just walked through the sea for 500 meters, and that was that. And then I quit. So that was quite a ridiculous race, but I think, yeah, I'm gonna call it an experience. It was quite an experience. So thank you for watching, and next week another video. See you then.